Hancock, the lad himself, came about because I've been working with Keith Page on numerous creator-owned projects that he's drawn, written and delivered to me over the last 10 years now. He happened to mention that he was working on this Hancock story. He was stuck indoors. All he could do was draw. He worked tirelessly with Stephen Walsh on this amazing story, which essentially brings Tony Hancock to life in comics.
It was something they'd been kicking around for a while, and lockdown gave him the opportunity to do it. John knew exactly who to bring it to because B7 Media now has a new comics imprint called B7 Comics. They sent it over, we took one look at it, read it through and went, we want this, yes please. And it went from there.
This isn't the first time that Tony Hancock has appeared in comics. He had a regular strip in Film Fun alongside Sid James for many years. This is a very different style of storytelling in that Tony himself interjects, objecting to the way his narrators have told his life.
It's also a full biography of his life, from his early beginnings in comedy and his desire to be the best comedian he can, but somehow felt like he was falling short at all times, right up until his death in Australia.
Tony Hancock's life story has been told many times on radio, in documentaries, but I think that what Stephen Walsh and Keith Page have done in this graphic novel is to make his whole life story relevant, even though he died in 1968.
It's a little bit warts and all, and I think Tony himself is aware of that in the story, which is why he's looking over the shoulders of the artist and the writer and letting them know what he thinks about it.
I think by the end of it, those who are enjoying the story will identify with a troubled comedian.
Hancock died in 1968, yet he continues to find new fans today. I was quite surprised when I spoke to some people in their 20s and 30s were just enthused about Tony Hancock's work and just loved the idea of a graphic novel. So I think it's got a very broad appeal, more so than we expected, and that's very exciting.
I have to confess, I wasn't as familiar with the story as many other people would be. Certainly not as familiar as Louis Barth, for example, who's written a fantastic introduction for the book. But by the end of the story, you couldn't help but feel sorry for him because of what had happened to him, because he didn't believe in himself, and yet so many people believed in him.
Tony Hancock, the lad himself, is the graphic novel you never expected to read,
telling the story of one of our most loved British comedians.
Head over to our Kickstarter campaign and please pledge your support now.